Well, tonight we are going to read chapter 33. And I hope you all are ready for a good read tonight. I read some of it today during our book club, and it was pretty exciting. So I can't wait to hear what is going to happen tonight. Hello, hello, my friends. How is everyone? Be sure and hit that like for me. I would appreciate it. Hello, Miss Paula. How are you? Chapter 33. Oh my goodness. Let me get a quick drink and I'm going to get comfy and we will do today's prayer. All right. Today's prayer. It is, under his wings you will find refuge. Psalms 91:4. Under his wings you will find refuge. Beautiful. I love tonight's prayer. That is just wonderful. Hello, Paula. I'm going to get comfy here so that I can get reading. Can you hear me all right, Paula? Chapter 33. You're one tired little puppy, huh? Yeah, I think we all are a little bit. But that's okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome in to my Wednesday night book read. Oh, you were out playing volleyball. Oh my goodness. You are going to be tired. That's fun though. Being outside and playing volleyball. And it's kind of nice out there tonight. It was sure a hot day, I'll tell you that. It was, I mean, we were almost at 90 degrees for June. So yes, it was a hot day. That, you know, Mark had said in his live in the auction on Johnny's channel, Cajun Roots Reseller, Mark is two old guys in vintage resale. He said that's August weather, and really it is. I was sure surprised that we had such high heat today. I landed in the water puddle. Oh, that would have cooled you off. Definitely. And tonight's read is Debbie McComer's Starting Now, a Blossom Street novel. And we are coming up on the end of the book. And then we will be moving on to a thriller. A thriller book. And I cannot wait. I love a good thriller. And what a better way to spend your summer night reading a good thriller. Chapter 33. Starting Now. The following morning, Libby woke with a feeling of expectation. She worked out of the gym, but Philip wasn't there, which disappointed her. The slouch had either slept in or had been called to the hospital on an emergency. She would find out later. Robin didn't show either, but she generally exercised only 3 times a week, Later, when she had a spare moment, Libby would catch up with Robin and find out how the rest of her evening had gone with the judge. From all outward appearances at the fundraiser and afterward, it seemed to be going very well indeed. Libby arrived at her office and contacted the Buckleys and set up the appointment for later that same day. She was psyched. The Buckleys were eager to hear what she had to say and had already given her contact information for the friend they mentioned the night before. Libby buzzed by the hospital an hour later, and the first person she ran into was Philip. He looked happy to see her, but no more happier than she was to see him. "Hi," she said, and hated how her voice sounded whispery and out of breath. "Missed you this morning at the gym." "You were there." She didn't want to admit that her main motivation for the gym these days was that he might be there too. "Yeah, where were you?" "I overslept." "Likely story." Philip glanced at his watch. "Got time for coffee?" "Sure, when?" She probably shouldn't have sounded so eager or so agreeable, but she couldn't help it. She was eager, and he appeared to feel the same way. "A half an hour?" She smiled. "See you then." Libby started to walk away when Philip reached for her hand. He seemed surprised, as if he hadn't realized what he was doing. Then he smiled and raised her palm to his lips and kissed her there. He shook his head and grumbled under his breath, "Some heart of stone I am." Libby stood in the middle of the corridor, paralyzed, staring at him. When she looked away, she found Sharon Jennings studying her with crossed arms. "I'm telling you, just seeing you two makes my heart beat faster. I'd forgotten what it was to be in love like that." Libby opened her mouth to deny everything and found she couldn't. She was falling in love with Philip. The problem was, excuse me, the problem was how busy they both were. They had to carve out a few minutes here and there when they could. 15 minutes for coffee, a late night phone call, sailing when the weather permitted. Even so, their relationship was moving forward, growing deeper every day. Up until now, they had both been cautious, carefree, careful for fear of getting hurt yet again, of making a mistake. That had changed. At the prescribed time, Libby met Philip in the cafeteria. He had already taken a table and bought their coffee, waiting patiently for her to join him. Libby slid into the chair and reached across the table for his hand. "I've had the most wonderful morning," she said. Still on an emotional high. The latest word was that it might be possible to bring Amy Jo home over the weekend. Libby could hardly wait. She was more than ready to be a mother. "I'm meeting with the Buckleys at 3, she told him, and glanced at her watch, making sure she had allowed herself plenty of time to get ready for the appointment. "Anything else happening I should know about?" he added, his mouth quirking sideways in an off-center grin. Libby realized she had been chatting non-stop for several minutes. "Oh, Philip, I've done it again. I just can't seem to stop talking. I'm so sorry. How's your day going?" He broke into a wide grin that made him look almost boyish. "Much better now that I'm with you." He squeezed her fingers. "Seeing how happy you are makes me happy." "Can I call you later?" she asked. "After I see the Berkeleys?" I'd be disappointed if you didn't. Can I fix dinner for you tonight? You're on, sweetheart. Call me if you're going to be late. She took one sip of the coffee and hurried to her feet. Kissing his cheek, she rushed from the cafeteria and noticed that nearly everyone in the room had stopped to watch her go. It flustered her until she realized she wasn't the one who interested them. It was Philip. Seeing Philip with her, the meeting with the Buckleys couldn't have gone better. Libby was thrilled to accept their retainer. The appointment with their friends was scheduled for the following week. Life was certainly on an upward swing. She had just gotten into her vehicle when her cell phone rang. It was Mark Williams, the attorney she had hired to complete the adoption. "Where are you?" he asked. "In my car. Why?" "I think it might be a good idea for you to head over to the hospital." Libby swallowed hard and alarm gripped her. "Is everything all right with Amy Jo?" "Yes, she's fine." "Then what's this about?" He hesitated. "I got a call from an attorney representing the Armstrong family." "Peter is going to sign the paperwork, isn't he?" He certainly had given that impression the night before. Naturally, he was confused and uncertain. What 15-year-old wouldn't be? "That's what they want to talk to you about," Mark said. "It would be best if we talked once you get here." Libby's heart slowed almost to a standstill. "I'm on my way." Within a matter of minutes, she pulled into the hospital parking lot and rushed up to the maternity ward. Sharon caught her eye and then quickly looked away. Libby's pulse was already racing double time, as if she climbed 3 flights of stairs instead of taking the elevator. The next person she saw was Peter, with a man she could only assume must be his father. Mark was there too, talking to another man who Libby felt sure must be the Armstrong's attorney. They stood outside the nursery, looking through the glass partition. Libby saw a woman she assumed was Peter's mother with Amy Jo. She sat in the rocker and cradled the infant in her arms. As soon as she saw Libby, she made eye contact with her husband. "Hi, Libby," Peter said, and quickly averted his gaze. "Hello." Libby stepped forward and extended her hand to Peter's father. "Libby Morgan," she said. "Ron Armstrong, that's my wife, Marlene. We're wondering if we all could sit down and talk, preferably someplace private." "Oh, of course. This floor has a small conference room. We could talk there if you'd like." That would work. Ron, Peter, and Libby, plus the 2 attorneys, waited until Marlene joined them, and then they all went into the conference room. Once inside, Ron closed the door. He waited until everyone was seated around the table before he spoke. "Marlene and I asked for this meeting today because we wanted to talk to you about the baby." He looked to his attorney, who nodded for Ron to continue. "Of course," Libby said. It was perfectly understandable that they would want to meet the woman who was adopting their granddaughter. "I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. We understand that you were wonderfully helpful to Ava," Marlene said. "She told us everything you did for her, and we want to know how very grateful we are. Ava's a sweet kid, a bit lost since the death of her mother, and confused about life. She'll be fine given time." Because Libby felt it was important that they understand the emotional connection between her and Ava, Libby explained that her own mother had died when Libby was the same age as a teenager. Marlene, Ron, and Peter listened, and then Marlene spoke. When we learned about the baby, well, you can imagine that we were more than a little shocked. Of course, Libby said. We understand you want to adopt the baby. Yes, she glanced at her attorney. We also understand that you're currently unemployed, Ron said, reaching for his wife's hands. I've recently started my own law practice, Libby said. Do you have the financial resources to support a child? Libby could see where this was heading, and she hesitated. Her savings account was dangerously low, but she had investments. I do, she offered without explanation. You're a single person, yes? She yearned to mention her budding relationship with Philip, but they were nowhere close to making full commitment to each other. I see, Ron and Marlene exchanged glances. As you can imagine, it has taken us a few days to get our bearings and make a decision about what is best for our son and his child, Ron said, holding her gaze. Oh no. We knew this was coming, didn't I tell you? Libby tensed, unsure of what was about to happen next. Although she had a gut-wrenching feeling she knew. And, she asked, anxiety gripping her throat to the point she was barely able to speak. She had every right to be worried. Marlene looked to her husband, who spoke on her behalf. My wife and I have decided that we want to raise Peter's daughter ourselves. This child is our child too. Marlene has always wanted a daughter, and despite several attempts, we were only able to have Peter. This baby is our blood. We have the financial resources to care for her properly and the advantage of a two-parent home. We've already spoken to an attorney who has contacted your attorney. Legally, you can't follow through with the adoption. The rest of what he had said remained a blur. The bottom line was that Libby wouldn't be adopting Amy Jo. In fact, the Armstrongs had already decided on another name, a family name, Grace Jennifer. No longer was this Libby's daughter. Amy Jo would go to another family who had chosen another name, another mother. What about Ava? Libby asked once the fog had cleared. Our attorney is working out the details with her and her grandmother now. It would be good if Ava had representation as well. Libby would see to that herself. I imagine this is a terrible disappointment to you, Marlene said, sympathetic. I'm sorry for that, but surely you can see this is the best option all around. Grace will be with her family, with those who love her. I love her, Libby insisted. We realize that, Ron said gently, but she'll have both a mother and a father who are related to her by blood. You wouldn't want to deny Grace that, would you? No, Libby choked out. No. I want her to have the best of everything. We do too, Marlene whispered. We do too. Oh my goodness, that is so sad. I had a feeling that that was coming, and that does take us to chapter 34. And Paula says, there goes the neighborhood, exactly. That is so sad. And I'll tell you, I cannot wait until Wednesday for our book club, because we are going to discuss quite a few questions and possibilities and probabilities. It is going to be so much fun in the book club. What do you guys think? I knew this. I had a bad feeling. I know that their son, the 15-year-old, he does not want this baby. But I had a funny feeling the parents at some point were going to get involved. I just had that feeling, but it was such a good chapter. I can see, let me see how long chapter 34 is, because we are awful close. No, chapter 34 is quite long. Let's see. 1, 2. Yeah, chapter 34 is also quite long. So I think I mentioned that last week when I said the chapters are a little longer now because we are getting close to the end of the book. Oh, I can't wait until Wednesday so we can discuss this. I do want to thank all of you for spending this time with me tonight, enjoying this awesome book, and when we start our new book, it is going to be a thriller. And I will be putting that video up real soon about the book that we are going to read next. Thank you, everyone. I hope you all have a good, sleepful night. Say your prayers, and I'll see you in another live.